In a mysterious pocket compound where music lives in every particle, Colossus scientists are working on creating a new monster. Their goal was simple but ambitious, to create a pure element of plant that will become the future creatures. They watched as life was born in a cocoon, a flower bud. Slowly, with a creak and a crack, the cover cracked and a tiny Lowb emerged from it. He was unusual. His body seemed soft and the lid could not be secured. But most importantly, he did not sing, he only trembled, afraid of the world around him. The Colossi watched him with disappointment. Monsters should sing their sounds on the islands of harmony, but Lowb was steadfastly silent. Every time he tried to make a sound, his shell hardened and muffled his voice. Meanwhile, the other monsters stopped paying attention to him. He felt alone, an outsider in a world where everyone had their own melody. He tried to imitate the sounds of nature, but his voice did not sound as clear and loud as the others. Lowb began to think that he was lost. Lowb decided to go on a journey. He left his birthplace and moved deep into the island, hoping to find his true voice. He encountered difficulties along the way. His shell hardened with every fright, preventing him from moving. He got stuck between the trees, fell into soft moss, but did not give up. One day, after a long journey, he came across an ancient being, a wise monster whose voice was as deep as the earth itself. It looked at Lowb and said, "Your silence is not weakness. You can sing differently. Find your rhythm, find your harmony." Lowb thought about it. He remembered how his lid changed with sounds. What if he could use that? He closed his eyes and began to make a low, deep sound. His body glowed with a soft light, and the hardened form formed something new. Dense woody structures began to grow from his body, turning him into something like a living tree. And suddenly, he heard an echo. It did not muffle his sound, but reflected it, created a new one, prepared a melody. His voice was no longer weak. It became for a new rhythm. Lowb understood his strength is in leaving, in endless renewal. Back on the island, Lowb was no longer afraid. He had found his voice, not loud, but deep, creating a pulsating rhythm of life. The other monsters heard him and, to his surprise, began to tune into his sound. His rhythm became a new melody, and soon the whole island was singing with him. Lowb was no longer alone. He had become the center of a complex flow that bound the musicians together. Since then, Lowb has remained more than just a monster, a symbol of how everyone can find their place in the world, even if it seems like you don't fit in according to the general rules. Now, his ancient form served a new creature, and his rhythm became part of the musical island. Lowb's story is a story of self-discovery, acceptance of one's uniqueness, and the manifestation of weakness in strength. And his song will sound forever.